Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be going through another amateur investing report, but I'm going to be covering 2 months in this report because I've been sort of falling behind. I've been packing, I had COVID, tons and tons of stuff going on in my life. But I'm going to have more capacity to be focused on the channel, and I'm going to be doing a lot more very soon and bringing back interviews. So, that's all going to be fantastic. Stay tuned for that. In terms of my investing report, I'm going to be doing February and March and just kind of catching up with things. So I'm not always chasing down these reports and, scrambling to try to make sure I get it out for you guys. This way I will give myself some more padding, some more time, and now that I can focus on some of the content that I've been working on and doing my massive comprehensive social review, which I know you're all looking forward to. I've been sort of slacking on that, so I will get that out very, very soon for you guys. But we're going to be diving into all of the investments that I'm making, talking about my liquidation of my stocks and what I think is going on there, how I'm really just focused on crypto now and just really doubling down on crypto income, and a little bit about my budget and spending on emergency preparedness gear. We're going to be diving into all that great stuff after a quick word from my sponsor.
A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android.
Okay, thanks again to my sponsor. Let's jump into it. This is my third time recording this, by the way. I keep having technical difficulties, so hopefully this is the right one. The last 2 months have been good. I still earned over $100 in dividends, which is fantastic considering my liquidation, but that's the last of my dividends before the liquidation. So I'm pretty sure going forward, I'm going to see way, way, way less, which makes sense because I liquidated about 70% of my portfolio. In total, I'm just under 2,000 dividends earned now, showing before the liquidation and after now. So that's really, really good. But again, it's going to be way, way less going forward. And I'm just going to have a much smaller percentage of my portfolio in stocks. I've already talked about why. The government can just freeze accounts. They're blacklisting Bitcoin. They're shutting off your ability to trade Russian stocks. And that's not even, endorsing or not endorsing Russian stocks. It's just simply the ability that they can turn it off. And if you had Russian stocks, you basically lost everything. Or if you wanted to invest in foreign assets in other countries or whatever, you don't know what is going to be reliable or safe anymore. So I'm very, very against, relying on these centralized financial institutions. From a cybersecurity standpoint, it's such a, an easy spot for failure, a single point of failure. And, it's just so much risk. And people would say, oh yeah, but crypto's volatile and it's risky in that sense. I would rather have a volatile asset that's secure than a less volatile asset that is completely unsecure and can be taken away from you at the drop of a hat. I will also be, as you guys know, I've been focused more on investing in precious metal and actually having cash on hand. I'm probably going to end up buying a car soon and maybe even a condo. So pretty dramatically different from what I was doing previously, but I still have all the confidence in where Ethereum and Bitcoin are headed over the next little while. So, I still expect everything to play out, even though ETH 2.0 didn't come out yet. I still have all the confidence in these technologies. And, I'm still fully confident that having the majority of my investments in Bitcoin and Ethereum is definitely the right play. And I believe that will be shown fairly soon. So, keep checking in. In terms of crypto income, this has been exponentially going up. Got $94 in February and $103 last month. You can see a massive uptick. This is really just reflective of me, doubling down on crypto, mainly just focused on Tron, Atom, and Hive and HBD. So I think those are pretty solid. I might start expanding a little bit more since I'm putting so much more capital into it, but I'm going to continually focus on building this up and getting my crypto income to be way higher. And maybe I'll start spending crypto again and doing reports on, paying for your bills and all these different things. I think it's going to have to be necessary if I'm going to really, truly live this decentralized way that I think is pretty much necessary now. In terms of other passive income, nothing new in terms of royalties, although I did get like a little tiny drop of $2.82 in February. So, it's not terrible. It's worth noting. Putting my total up to $3.80. And I haven't really been doing much music-wise. And I don't really share that with you guys. But, now that I have some more capacity, we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. In terms of my crypto portfolio, I'm getting back up there. So that's really, really great to see. Up 22% in the last month. So, very, very good to see. It feels like we're kind of headed back to where we were around December and hopefully above and beyond. For my stocks, as you know, I liquidated at the end of February, and that was about 70% that I sold off. And I've just got, a couple basic ETFs. Oops, let's move that down to, there we go. So now I'm at 12,527. So, even when I liquidated and started reinvesting again, I'm already up 2.5% from then, not including my dividends. So, not bad. I can't really complain. As I said, I'm just really not that focused on this anymore. It's very kind of set it and forget it. Just a few ETFs, very, very basic. In terms of my total portfolio, like I said, I'm kind of back where I was in December. So it's really good. Clearly I'm seeing that recovery, and I think this will continue to grow, especially as Bitcoin and Ethereum get back to their all-time highs. Mainly right now, it's like Ethereum chugging along, and Bitcoin is sort of lagging behind. But again, I'm fully confident in the use cases, in the technology, and where we're headed. It seems like we're getting a lot more adoption very quietly, and I think the price will continue to reflect that. In terms of budget, I did spend a ridiculous amount in February. That was all for survival gear, preparedness, like emergency preparedness stuff, for anything, right? For power outages, for a solar flare, for an EMP, for a nuclear disaster, whether it's, an actual nuke or even just like a power plant failure. And there's 2 power plants very near me, nuclear power plants. So, there's a lot of things that you can do to prepare. And I've pretty much covered all those basics, Faraday bag, having a bug out bag, having a bunch of emergency food supplies and ways to actually cook that stuff, MREs, pretty much everything you can think of. I'll do a video in the future talking about all that stuff and, why I bought what I bought and what led me to make those decisions. As I talked about not that long ago when I was doing all my financial backup stuff, one of the main comments that I was seeing was that I didn't have any emergency preparedness stuff. I had everything else prepared, but I wasn't really prepared for a emergency. Now I feel like I am very much prepared. The only things that I don't really have are some of the more expensive things, like I need to get a car, like a backup generator, things that are like, $500 to $1,000 or more. I haven't gotten, all the way into doing all that stuff, or having like, a massive water filter and all these different things that I will get eventually, but over time, because these are going to be much larger investments in emergency preparedness. Right now, I kind of have the basics. Plus, doing things like learning about like knots and various survival skills. I'm reading the SAS survival guide, and I've got a copy on my phone as well. I highly recommend getting more acquainted with that kind of stuff, especially with everything that's happened over the last little while. Definitely kind of lit a fire under me to round out my financial preparedness, which includes, emergency preparedness stuff. Because if you're not prepared for an emergency, your finances might not really matter, right? If you can't extract your value or bring it with you or whatever, then everything that you did to prepare is kind of nullified. So, having that emergency preparedness stuff is just as important. And I understand that much more now. I'll talk about that more in the future, though. Let's take a look at the individual, all the individual things that I've done for investments. Again, I'm not really going to be focusing a lot more on stocks because it's very, very set it and forget it. It's just these 4 ETFs plus my investment fund in Tangerine, my secondary bank. So, it is what it is. It's about a 4% dividend yield in total, just under 4%. I'm pretty happy with it. It's growing. It's doing its thing. I'm going to keep this as a very, very small percentage of my overall wealth. As you can see, dividends and stocks are only 4% now. I want to keep it around 5% or less. And I want to get my passive crypto up to at least 15% or more. I'll probably dramatically increase that once Ethereum and Bitcoin really, go crazy and I sell a good portion of it. Some will just be taken out and, maybe used for buying a condo and a car and stuff like that. Finally getting into the real estate game slightly out of necessity and slightly out of just, it's time. I'm getting closer to 30. That's when I was generally thinking about doing that. The housing market is kind of terrible right now. It's probably the worst time to buy, but I think condos hold their value much better and I'll just be living in it. And honestly, if I can spend half as much on a mortgage than I am on rent, it's kind of a no-brainer. And, it is what it is. We'll see exactly how things play out. I don't want to be really liquidating a large portion of my crypto to do this. And then, it goes way, way up and then I'm kicking myself for doing so. So I'm going to be very cautiously looking into buying a condo in the near future. In terms of my crypto cash, not a lot has changed here. Aside from just Dash going way up, which is fantastic to see. It's going to get integrated with Thorchain very soon. So, big things are happening there. They've got their crypto credit card and all that kind of stuff. I want to see that come to Canada so I can finally start taking advantage of that as well. Nothing really new to report on this. I have a little bit more crypto, a little bit more ETH, a little bit more BTC, just very, very minor. Barely even worth mentioning, but ETH seems to be going up in value pretty significantly and a lot faster than Bitcoin is able to return to its all-time high. And I'm very confident that we will see new all-time highs this year. So, none of this is financial advice. Don't hold me to that. But that is my anticipation. And that is how I'm investing and, looking forward into the future. I'm not going to really report as much on my privacy crypto as I continue to add more and more to my portfolio. I mean, you probably already saw it at the beginning with my total portfolio, so I guess I'll just show it anyways. I'm just slowly adding to this and it's going up, so that's good to see. Once I get this to a certain level, though, I'll probably stop including that in this because, if it's really privacy crypto, I probably should also conceal the actual amount of privacy related crypto that I have. I'll be doing a very, deep dive in a comprehensive deep dive into privacy coins in the near future. So do stay tuned for that as well. Kind of comparing all of them and what I think really is the best privacy coins or not. In terms of staking, most of my staking now is all just coming from HBD, Atom, and Tron. A little bit of Hive, but I'm powering down so I can put it all into HBD. I don't really feel like 13 weeks is enough liquidity for me to feel comfortable leaving that there, especially since I believe that we're going to see some crazy stuff in the next several months for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think Hive will naturally go up alongside that. So I want to have that like liquid, not locked in and powered up. Not that I don't have faith in it. I'll be putting it into HBD regardless and keeping it on the Hive platform. I prefer having the 3-day versus the 13 weeks. So, I mean, naturally. Atom has been very, very good, though. Definitely the breadwinner, so to speak, for how much I'm bringing in for passive income. And I'll continue to focus on Atom. Tron has been really good as well. There's just always that caveat where I don't really like Justin Sun and the things he's done ethically and, you know, just in the business world and, you know, a bunch of things. But regardless, the technology is still sound. And if there really was ever an ETH killer, it would have been Tron. And because it wasn't, I don't think there ever will be an ETH killer. Because you could just look at Tron and you say, well, why isn't that the ETH killer? But you know, that's a whole other story. So we won't worry too much about that. But on average, it's producing about 11% APY with 6.7% on Tron, 12% on my HBD, and 15% on my Atom. So, you know, I feel really good about this. I'm not really reporting on my MTR or my Blurt because I'm just switching all that over to, my Blurt, I just keep switching over to HBD, and my MTR, I have finally just said, screw it. And I sold it all, and took the hit on the gas fees, but you know, it is what it is. I just put it into Atom. So, you know, I feel good about this, just shrinking things down, simplifying things, just betting on the winners versus spreading myself out thin, and just making this easier to track. And yeah, so that's all good to go. In terms of speculative crypto, a lot has happened over the last little while. My Luna isn't something that I'm like so gung-ho on. It's just I get free airdrops and I'm like, you know what, I'll just keep it and see what happens. The gas fees are too high. I mean, they're not like high compared to like Ethereum, but for a new chain that's supposed to, you know, compete with Ethereum in that sense for gas fees or like for staking, it's already way too expensive, like $2 for me to claim rewards. So I said, I'm not going to be, you know, using Luna as a passive crypto income. It's not very viable, and I could just put stuff into Atom and, you know, pay like 1 cent. I'd rather just do that. Matic, I sold everything because it sucks and there's so many issues with their technology. And for many days, I just couldn't do anything with it. And it's just so sketchy to me. So I'm just like, you know what? I was kind of just speculating and investing in it because, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's, you know, improving Ethereum and all this stuff. And while that is kind of true, it's got too many issues. I'm not going to invest in things that have technical problems. I'd rather just park that money in Rune and BNB. So I've been sort of, you know, jumping between BNB and Rune. I sold a good portion of my Rune when it hit $12 or $12.30 something. I bought at $3.50, 4x. Now we're at 5x. So, I mean, I had to sell at some point. I only had like maybe like $6,000 in there. So I sold about half of that. And, you know, it's still an amazing asset. The second it dips, I'm going to take all this BNB and, you know, maybe put like half of it back into Rune. So I've got my BNB sort of sitting there on the side. You might be wondering why I have so much in BNB. Again, it's really just because I'm waiting to put that into Rune as soon as there's another big dip. And otherwise, I wouldn't have such a large portion in BNB. But Rune is an amazing technology, and I don't like speculating, but it's very easy to speculate on Rune because it's such an amazing technology. And every time they add a new integration, it just goes crazy. So you know, I see it going way up and continuing along the trend that it has been having. But obviously, you know, it can't go up forever. So that's why I'm kind of like waiting right now before I really throw more BNB in. Or if we get too close to the Dash integration, I'll probably just throw some in anyways, so I don't miss another massive run up. But I mean, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum have been on the rise, so everything's kind of going back up. So that makes sense. That's pretty much everything though for my stuff over the last 2 months. Lots has happened, but the main thing is just that I'm, you know, moving forward. I'm completely changing my retirement plan and finally breaking down and going to probably buy a car and, you know, get a house and do all the things that normal people do. I'm 27. I've gone for so long in my life without having a car, you know, doing everything I could to save as much money as possible and invest it. I wanted to go as long as possible so I can like have this framework for you guys and prove it because I'm doing it. But eventually at some point I've got to like move on and, you know, real estate is a good investment in and of itself. I know the market is terrible right now, but I do feel that a condo is going to hold its value a lot better than a house if we see some, you know, big crashes. And I still need a place to live. So if I can get a place, put, you know, 200,000 down and end up spending half as much in rent as I would otherwise, then, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer, as I was saying before. So that's my plan going forward. I'm going to keep, you know, investing in Rune and building up my crypto income. Not really going to be doing a whole lot on the stock side of things. I'm going to keep taking out money from the bank. I'm going to keep buying precious metals. I'm going to keep building this stuff up and, you know, setting aside a little bit of money each month for emergency preparedness stuff, getting my private investigator's license, getting my gun license, kind of just doing all the things that allow me to have as few restrictions in Canada as possible, considering how restricted we already are. And that's going to be my main focus, just kind of getting all of my certifications and things that I might need and becoming as self-reliant as I possibly can. Honestly, I may end up just going off grid at some point, but we'll see. I'll obviously let you guys know, and I'll still be doing all of my same stuff. I'm going to be focused more on the content over the next little while, now that I have more capacity, and I'm going to be doing more interviews. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a little bit longer, but we're covering the past 2 months versus just 1 month. But anyways, let me know what you guys are doing. What are you investing in? Do you think Rune has a lot of space to keep going? Do you think we're going to see a big pullback? Where do you think we're going for Bitcoin and Ethereum? Are we going to see new all-time highs in 2022? Let me know all of your thoughts. And what do you think about like me selling a bunch of my stocks and stuff? Do you think that was too reactionary? Do you think that just makes sense to be going, you know, leaning further into decentralization and decentralized finance? Let me know all of your thoughts and feedback and such in the comments below. And since you watched to the very end, also, you can comment #1ham in the comments below. And that way I know you watched the whole video. So that way you can let me know that you did. And I usually am much more likely to respond to those comments, although I try to respond to everything, of course. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.